King Forged Tec from Cobra. Tungsten toe weight centers the center of gravity behind the hitting zone, Cobra is saying, to maximize distance and precision, even on off-center hits. It's infused with foam microspheres that fine-tune acoustics and create a softer feel. Classic look, crazy distance. A forged PWR shell face expands the sweet zone for higher launch and faster ball speed, all in a compact shape. The hollow core that delivers low center of gravity and controlled distance for maximum playability. That's what Cobra is saying anyway. That's the tech done. We're now going to take them out on the golf course and see actually how they feel, fly, sound. Up in the box up here, have you ever owned Cobra set of irons? If you have, let me know in that box. Maybe in the comment section you can let me know if you got on with them or not. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Loads of videos every day, all things related golf, from coaching to reviews and golf course reviews and lots more. Maybe consider hitting that subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, give that bell a ring, peoples. Let's get out on the golf course. Right, out here on the course with Dan, and we've got the Cobra irons in our hands. We're going to play a few holes with the set.
Yep.
And see what they're all about. Right, so we got quad out on the course. Gonna go with a 4-iron to start. Yep. Par 5. Let's just play a few holes, see what they feel like. Okay. Down by the ball, how does it look?
Yeah, it looks good. Like, it's not. It is slightly chunky on the top, but it's not too intrusive, if that makes sense. They've got a nice little bit of roll that rolls either side of this one. I'm liking the, wow, the only thing I can like put it close to is that like ping hydro pearl look finish. So it's like an off matte, just like a matte finish, and then the grey square point down by the ball here where the groove's sitting, just frames it nicely.
Nice shot out to the right, drawing back.
Yeah, that's good.
Hit that all right?
Start, yeah. Nice little launch. You see that just popping up in the air like that for me? That felt good and felt soft. How are your numbers? So we're hitting a 4-iron. 4-iron to get us off with, so 208 carry on that one. So that's very good for me.
First shot of the day.
I'm normally like a 195 guy with a 4-iron. Launched up at 11.7. It seemed to me like it launched maybe fractionally a bit higher than that, like from a visual. Yeah. So that's not too bad. And then spinning at 4,000, which is pretty much within a couple of hundred revs where my 4-iron would kind of be, really.
Shot. 208, 4-iron, first shot of the day. I'm impressed. I'm not expecting mine to get over 180. It does look nice, doesn't it?
It does look nice, yeah.
It does have a little bit more offset than maybe I would want to see.
Yeah, but I'm seeing that with a lot more when you kind of, you know, the longer irons. It'd be interesting to see what happens when we look down at the shorter irons, but yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Well, there's two ways of reading that comment. There's more than I would want to see for this style of club, but there isn't more than I would want to see for a lot of golfers. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I would like to see less offset, but I'm happy it's there for me because I use a hybrid into this club. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. But I was expecting where I feel this club sits for it to be a little less, but I guess it's medium top line stuff, isn't it? A medium sole. It's not, even though it's like gives you the feeling of a blade in some ways, it's not a blade, is it? Because obviously it's got that hollowed out technology that we talked about at the beginning. All right, let's see how blatantly average I can make this club look in the long irons. Hit that all right, actually.
Yeah, it's a nice sound.
Yeah, I've spun it more than you. I did catch it slightly bottom groovy. But again, like you say, it does feel nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does feel very nice.
Solid, but like soft at the same time. Yeah. So I'm 196, which I'm quite happy with. First shot with a 4-iron carry. 4.6 spin, so I did catch it slightly out of the bottom, launching at 12.5, so launching it a bit higher than you, but our angle of attacks are definitely different with 4-irons. You're much more hitting down, where I'm really starting to sweep the longer stuff. Yeah.
Your normal carry with a 4-iron is about?
Well, I don't have one, do I? No, so my rinky dinks is that number, 196. That's its average, and I can push it to 209, and I can drop it back to 170 almost, which is why I use it. We've done videos on that, show the difference. So that's exactly where it should sit. I'm quite happy with that, and not ridiculously low spinning, which I like. Actually, 600 above the number for me is actually quite high spinning. I'm going to hit a 7-iron down there because we've got a wedge as the third. So I think if we both do the same to use all
you've
three
got about
clubs.
300 yards in.
And we got quad on. It'll be interesting to see what I get out of the semi-rough actually here. It'll be fun. Some actual real gaming numbers for you.
What are you expecting to see from that lie?
I'm expecting to see 5,000 to 6,000 spin opposed to 7,000.
Yeah,
That'll be interesting.
1,500 revs less.
Yeah, the most interesting thing when you hit out of these lies is that you don't know what you're going to get. That's the beauty. When we did it with Burn and I've done it with other players, some were normal spin and then all of a sudden it would drop. That's the point. You couldn't really control it. So yeah, I mean, this club reminds me of the Mizuno version. Ping do almost the version. I'd say they're slightly slender.
Yeah.
It's quite stocky. I see this club as like a stocky, really good rugby player.
Solid.
It's not fat.
Yeah.
It's not like Dad. Do you know what I mean? It's like proper, like a, you know, just a fixed set, solid sports person. Because I like that the 7-iron is relatively not too long. I also like the grey to the silver on the face frames up and the way it bends over the top. I really like. But the top line is medium and closer chunky than it is thin, isn't it?
I think it's going to give a lot of people confidence.
What I like
they've got a nice solid club down there.
I agree, and what I like about it is that you can have a club that's stocky and solid and going to give you some help. Because obviously we've talked about the thinner face, and then you've got your tungsten weights and your your toe weight behind the centre, and then you've got this microsphere. I mean, that's close to saying speed foam almost inside, isn't it?
Very.
But obviously if it's helping with acoustics, then great, because they did sound good on the first tee. But like, you could get these in the hands of a lot of golfers, but they're still going to sit in a bag and look like a play, you know, make you feel like a player.
Absolutely.
A little bit clean, just out to the right, should catch the fairway. Take that all day long.
Are you feeling, you know, like,
so look at that, 153 and 7,500 revs. So I'm going to hit another one.
So that's interesting, because I was about to say, would you feel when the spin drops off the club?
Yeah, well, I caught that right out the bottom, so your flyer lie is not.
It's game over almost,
I'm kind of taking it away a little bit.
Yeah.
So let's try another one.
So you clipped that last one a little bit off the top, yeah?
Yeah, I caught it really clean. Like, your kind of perfect strike if you wanted to control distance from a flyer lie. Similar strike, a little bit more ground, but that's not particularly flyy, I wouldn't say. But let's have a look. Yeah, look. I didn't see if that's new numbers.
No, I'm not sure that's the same.
I'm just going to try one more to see if the numbers do change. Obviously, quad does struggle a little bit when you're in out the rough. Just knocking one of Dan's balls down there. So that's a bit more on that, but still not low. 162, so almost 10 yards further than Kerry, and then but it's still spinning at 6.8.
I would say that's pretty good for a 7-iron out of semi like that. It's wet as well.
Yeah, I'd say that's doing brilliantly.
Solid, yeah.
Very good tee shot, Danny boy. So you're going to do the same, 7-iron, slightly wet fairway, donk it down there. What do you think of that 7-iron?
To me it looks like an 8-iron.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because I always see when you blend from 7-irons moving into sort of 8-irons and 9-irons, you tend to go from maybe a slightly squarer look to then more rounded. Yeah. You know, because they're always trying to get a blend into their wedges, aren't they? But I start to see this one as quite rounded already, so it's very similar to what I've seen in many 8-irons from a set.
And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, not a negative.
Not on anything.
No, not on anything. Really, it's just how it jumped out to me. Like, is this definitely a 7-iron?
Go on then. Solid strike. It is a nice sound, isn't it?
Yeah, just a fraction toey, that one for me. But that again, even though I knew that was toey, you probably couldn't hear that, whereas sometimes you can hear.
Yeah, that sounded like a good hit to me.
And it's still, I could still see it wanting to sort of press forward, even though it was a weaker part of the club.
Okay. And numbers?
Numbers, let's look at those then. So 162, so that's pretty much where my normal kind of 7-iron would be. Fractionally lower in the spin, but again...
Expect that out of a toe strike.
Yeah, just dropped off a fraction, but again, I'm not overly unhappy with that.
Yeah.
I think that's about normal to what I would expect to see from that strike in this slightly wet, damp condition. Still hitting the number though, which is positive.
So whatever that gel is inside, I mean, it definitely, if that is making the sound feel better, they feel good, don't they?
They do, and to be honest with you, what does frustrate me a little bit when we talk about things like the foam or the energized foam and things like that, and speed foam, like, just tell us it's a dampening. It's there for acoustics, you know.
They
don't
do
try
say
and,
it's there for acoustics, but the names are funny.
Yeah, the names are funny because it's not. To me, I don't feel like it's giving me anything more other than the fact that it sounds nicer because of it.
So there are my 3 shots. You can see how tight they are, with the last one being that bit longer.
Yeah.
So indoor numbers to outdoor numbers, I'm like happy. Kind of, that's exactly what I would have called off the face.
No,
basically.
absolutely.
At 132, I'm going to give the wedge a good old cracking.
Yeah.
It's quite a nice shape. Well, I say that actually. Kind of almost said that without looking at it. I'm not a massive fan of that shape actually.
It's a little strange in there. You're seeing a kink there.
I want that to keep rounding off a bit more.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's my favourite shape wedge. I like the top. It flows nicely with the set. This is all fine, leading edge is nice. I just don't like it there in the neck. And we still do see a bit of offset in the wedge, which is fine, but I don't want a wedge offset at all in looks.
No,
but I get why it's there. Maybe if it's there to help anyone hit the ball left, right. But
kind of like to see it quieten down, even though you've got a little bit of offset, let's say in the 4-iron, you want to see it sort of progress slowly, like losing that offset as you come through to...
How many lessons have you done where someone comes in and says, I'm slicing my wedge?
Yeah. No.
Name one person.
No, they're more likely to pull the wedge,
aren't they?
Yeah.
I don't see why that needs to be all kinky down there. Personally, I would, if I was in that meeting, I would be like, can we not just make 9 and wedge go pretty straight?
A little bit more neutral, yeah.
But then again, people might not like the juts from an offset, so they're not, you know, they might see that as a jump. You see what I mean? It's just so personal, isn't it?
Of course.
Right, this is right at the top end for a wedge for me, so I'm going to give this a bit of a thump. Got my microscopic or microsphere, I don't know what, gel beads in there, so I should be alright, Dan.
You should be absolutely fine.
Nice little draw. If it's up, it's good. Yeah, it's pin high.
Yeah, it's a good shot. Solid
like
shot.
That. 132, 9,000 spin.
Yeah, 132, 9,000. You've hit the number.
It's just
132.
Each time hitting the number.
Yeah.
Like it a lot. And it does feel good. I mean, it does feel like a forged, I mean, it's called Forged Tec. It feels like any decent player's iron I've hit, to be honest. I'm impressed.
115 I've got, 114.5 to be precise.
What do you think of the wedge then? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I can kind of see what you're saying about this kink. It looks quite nice and thin coming in here, and then it then gets quite bulbous again up here, so I can see what you're saying, that it makes it look a bit funny. It's quite big when it gets up the top here. It's not too bad for me. I mean, if anything, I feel like it's from front to back, I feel like it's pretty good. It may be just in my eye looks a fraction long in the blade length for a wedge.
Okay.
But I'm not, I could happily get used to that, I think.
What about the offset? Like, there is a kink at the bottom for offset, isn't there? It's definitely set back.
Yeah, it's definitely set back. But what it is, it's got it looks more set back than probably it is, in the fact that it kicks in, and then the leading edge is a little bit, maybe a fraction more rounded, so it then brings it back a fraction. So it is there.
That's, I mean, for you not to be crazy about the offset is a positive, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say it is.
Right, so you have to take a bit off this, don't you?
I've got 115, so I'm doing a little grip down, and then I only need to sort of
tap it in there.
Yeah, tap it in there, really, 3/4 shot.
Nicely played, going in that bit lower for the softer shot. Yeah, pin high.
Got the yardage about right.
What carry did you get? 115.
9,174 spin.
It's doing well, isn't it? This is wet early morning conditions, and each club is holding its own.
Yeah, that did everything I wanted it to do for that. Maybe a fraction lower than I was expecting, but then I'm off a slightly downhill line.
And it's a wedge. I mean, you would normally be hitting a much more lofted club.
Absolutely.
Very good. Here's where the 2 wedge shots finished. It's very wet here this morning. Dan came in a bit lower. It's very interesting, isn't it? So Dan's pitching here.
yours come in and stop.
And then he's shooting on, and because I was full, my land angle has far overtaken, so our spins weren't that dissimilar.
No, 100 revs.
But the land angle has made such a difference for stopping distance, which again, when you think about companies talking about saving 300 revs and the conversations you have to painfully have online, people who think that's a selling tool, just did it a bit higher maybe. It's a good option, isn't it?
Certainly helps.
Isn't it? So there's my numbers on the last shot.
How did you hit that?
Bit toey.
Slightly toey, 6-3 spin, off a T-peg as well.
Off a T, because we saw something on yours. You went 5-4 spin from the ground, didn't you?
So I went 5-4, carried it 165.
Yeah.
Which is, and it was a bit of a poor strike, so I've caught it a little bit in the toe. So I was a little bit surprised that it managed to get 165 out of it.
Yeah, so it did well.
So it did very well.
But it was a low spinner.
But it's a particularly low spin.
Where
I didn't use a T though,
yeah,
I teed it down.
Yeah.
Didn't strike like I didn't catch it heavy or anything.
Yeah.
But it was still particularly low. When you said to me, have a quick look at your spin, I was a bit surprised that it was that low.
Yeah, absolutely. So there I am, and there's Dan just a bit further on because he did get a little bit more out of his. Before we just finalise and see if you could game it, those kind of ideas, let's go and look at some dry numbers that we collected, because obviously the outdoor numbers do jump around a bit. So Dan's hitting a 7-iron to kick us off. Just to put it out there, the 7-iron loft is 29.5. So I'm expecting to see more 6-iron numbers. Exactly what we see: 173 carry, which is a strong 7-iron for Dan, definitely closer to his 6-iron. 5982 spin, so averaging around the number of the loft of 29.5. And then the 4-iron, 36 peak height, going at 205, so healthy numbers with the 4-iron, spinning at 4.3, so spinning to the number to slightly higher. 4-iron loft 21 degrees, so good gapping and very solid numbers. What's most interesting is the numbers on the mat, again lower than the numbers you see out on the golf course. You've got to work your mat and outside numbers in if you're getting an indoor fit. So could you game it, Dan?
I could game a portion of the set.
Okay.
So I would look at the 4-iron, certainly the 4-iron and maybe the 5-iron. I definitely think I could probably game that side of it, but I would want to combo this in somewhere.
Because the short irons, you want them to get more slender, is that what you mean?
Yeah, I do. I want to see them a little bit quieter on the top line. I want to see a little bit less offset. I also want to, you know, I'm keen, just that one little shot we hit on the last there where the spin drops right off.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want those shocks.
Yeah.
I want them dropping off short, if anything, because the golf course kind of finishes beyond there. So for me, I want the confidence of having something slightly slender, slightly something that's going to give me a bit more spin, certainly down the bottom end. But yeah, I could game them, but I do think they're gonna sell well. I think people are gonna love the look of this, that sort of bladey look from the back. I think people are gonna really enjoy that, and from the feel. I mean, you cannot beat the feel on it. It's as good as anything I've tested.
I could game them. I think that's a really good set from Cobra.
Yeah.
I would get over the amount of offset. I like the medium top lines. I think the numbers are pretty good, pretty honest. Again, I think it'll appeal to lots of people. Maybe post comments down below, let me know if there's something that appeals to you. You know, it looks like a player's iron because it does look bladey, but it's giving you all the help of a club that really you could see a cavity back in. They're just hiding it basically with the hollow construction and what have you, aren't they? I think that's a really good set of clubs from Cobra. Yeah, I could see them being really popular, and I could easily game them. I would be the same as you. I think for me, they fall down a little bit in the short irons. Anyone who's seen these, got these, tested these, maybe in the comments down below. What do you think? Do you not care? You like the fact that the offset stays almost through them or not? Do you love the wedge? You don't? Let me know down below, because that's obviously just our opinion on what we are used to looking at. As a whole, I think that's a really good set of irons.